Right, guys, it's rain all the way here. Rain, rain, more rain in Bulgaria. I had a morning 2 days ago where I managed to get some wood cut up with the chainsaw. And now I'm just waiting now. But it's all good news because we want this land saturated, ready for the ready for the summer. Keep it green because you need rain. And our spring across the road, which comes from my garden, um, there's like a little catch pit just at the back of the garden, and that's got a pipe which goes across the road to the sort of I wouldn't say the village spring because we've got about 3 or 4 springs in this little area. Um, and ours has been dry for most of the winter, but now it's got a good flow. See how long it lasts anyway. But there are springs around here that do seem to run whatever, and I think there's two types of springs. One is kind of purely runoff from the rain that comes from the sky, and others come from aquifers. Well, we know that's the case, that water's pumped out of the ground here because we've got the mineral baths in a few locations actually in these mountains. So that's pumped. It's not runoff, and it's coming out at 700 meters above sea level. So that's the aquifer, and I'm not quite sure how it all works, but and people even here didn't say no. Oh no, that's from the top of the mountain. It's not. It's from the aquifers. Anyway, so I've just read a couple of articles here, and one of them is about Bulgaria. It's emerging as a major um, exporter of herbs, which doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, these people, they latch on to everything. And there's a lot of teas, herbal teas. There's one called Mersal, which is very famous in Bulgaria. Mersal tea, which is iron wort in English. And there's linden. And the linden trees here are fantastic, fabulous. And they only flower for very short period of time, and then all the bees and all the pollinators, the whole tree. I mean, I had a massive one next door in the last house, and the aroma, it's absolutely fantastic. Linden, and the whole tree just buzzes. You can hear it buzzing with all the bees and pollinators, these trees are huge, absolutely massive. And and there's lavender that was mentioned, which I always thought this would be a good place to grow lavender and rose hips. Now, I know a mountain. I go collecting them now and again. With a big, you got to wear a big pair of leather gloves for the spikes. They're quite ferocious. The spikes on the thorns on the rose hips, and I know a mountain that's covered with them. It must be just the right conditions, and it's like Rose Hip City. Fantastic. And you can I go up there now. I remember I collected a bucket, no, like a full-size bucket in about 2 hours, and they're quite big. Some years they're smaller, depending on the weather, obviously, and some years they're bigger, the rose hips. And with that bucket, you can make all sorts of stuff, you know. And I gave half the bucket to my friend of mine, and she was really happy with them, you know, because she said a few years back, "Oh, we should go and collect these rose hips." And another thing that grows here, around here, profusely, is up the other valley actually. Not so much in this valley. is elderberry, and that's like, some people call it black gold. And elderberry, it has got some properties in it, and it seems to never go off. I've made jute preserves with it. Actually, I mixed it with the rose hips. You can mix fruits in preserves, and it never went off. And it's an acquired taste. Elderberry, especially elderberry preserve. It's an acquired taste. It's like Marmite, and I like bitter stuff. And I didn't want to put more sugar in. And I try and do things with honey anyway. With the preserves, and they sell this Dr. Oetker, the gel that makes it into jelly, and I use that. Try and cut down the sugars to preserve these things. But the elderberry preserve, it lasted, and it was like quarter of a jar, and I forgot about it, and I opened it up, and usually even jam, you know, and even marmalade. I like marmalade when it ferments a bit. Actually, gets like a whiskey taste, kind of a liqueur taste. I've got a few jars of marmalade. I've got a Sicilian marmalade. Sicilian marmalade's lovely, beautiful, and you can get the blood orange Sicilian if you're lucky, and it appears in Lidl very rarely, and when it does, I buy it, you know, 2 jars or whatever. Anyway, and they've just been to the International Tea Day in Guangzhou, China, and it went down very well, and you know, that's why my channel's called Look East. They're always going there, and you don't hear them going to London or anywhere like that. And the other week they went to Osaka in Japan. The Bulgarians with the and that went down a treat, the fermented yogurt, and they do fermented sour cream as well, which I'm devouring at the moment, trying to build my biome back up after I had a big course of antibiotics, which kills all your bacteria as well. It kills all bacteria, obviously, antibacterial. So I'm trying to get back to normal, and I'm feeling strong now. Strong. If you build yourself back up, better than before. And at the moment, I'm just bombarding the body with superfoods and anything that I find, which does this, that, the other, and it works. I do take a lot anyway of that stuff, and the tea I make now, it's fantastic. I make it with mint, cloves, ginger, and honey, and lemon juice. all mixed up. First of all, I put the boiling water, because I don't think boiling water's good really for honey. Destroys the antibiotic properties in honey. That's why I like raw honey and not like pasteurised honey. Pasteurised honey, really, it's probably done a lot of damage to the honey. We get honey straight from the hives here. Straight from the hive. They sell it in the builder's yard. Because their family, they must have all these beehives. Because it's big around here now. Beekeeping. And they sell it there. And opposite, in the same family, over the road is like where you pay all your bills, Easy Pay, and they sell it in there as well. So you can get the raw honey and get huge jars. I think there's 680 millilitres, and that's around about £6.50. But huge jar. And it's really good stuff, you know. And they must have the beehives in different places around them, on where they live, and because the different flavours, unless they get it off, you know, their uncle or someone like that, you know, family or friends maybe even, don't know. Anyway, I get the dark honey. I like that, and they have all sorts of honeys in Bulgaria. So now you'll see that as well shortly. There'll be an article on that beekeeping. There was one, but it wasn't about exporting. But like that'll be the next. They just get onto everything here. They get into everything now. And I like it because they're looking, you know, imagine importing tea, exporting tea to China. Whether that was just where the thing was, the international tea, whatever it was, whether that's just where it was, and it wasn't just about exporting tea to China. But imagine that. It's like selling ice to the Eskimos, selling tea to China. Amazing. Because China now is, you know, they're the importers of stuff as well. They're like, they're not your poor man anymore. That's where all the Rolls Royces go and all that, exporting from UK and Jags and all that. Go to China. It's switched, you know. We get all the cheap garbage made in Hong Kong, and they get all the Rolls Royces and all that, and that's how it is these days, you know. We get all the absolute garbage. Never buy tools from China; they're absolutely hopeless. How do they build these fighter jets and they stay in the air? I don't know. They must have a two-tier system where they just sell the garbage to the West, like, and when they make fighter jets and that, they kind of do it properly. I mean, but they did say actually all of the warships have got a rust problem. Because everything's, you know, a lot of stuff in China, I mean, very industrious, and, you know, like the phones and that's where they're good. Phones and stuff like that. Laptops. They're good at that, you know, and but like a lot of stuff, tools, they're like, they get Chinese tools here. They're hopeless, like chainsaws and stuff like that. Don't even think about it, you know. Don't even think about it. I think they do make some stuff under license over there, and you know, they have quality control on some of the stuff, like Makita and stuff like that. And they do produce good quality stuff. And unless it's made a lot of the stuff's made in America, the Makita. And that's really good stuff. And there's a lot of good tools in Czech Republic. If you ever want good tools, just look for made in Czechoslovakia. Well, it's Czech Republic now. But they do log splitters there and things like that. And they're actually made there. And they're good. It's good stuff. And they make electric bikes and all that. They make all sorts. And the best cars, in my opinion, Skoda. They're the best. Anyway, so Bulgarians are now it's a top exporter of herbs. What next? I mean, every day we see stuff, and I just saw another article that from Greece to Bulgaria they're making a hydrogen pipe. I'm not quite sure what they use the hydrogen for, or where they make it, or any of those type of things. Whether it's a byproduct of this gas, I don't know. I'll have to look into that on what they use hydrogen for. But if you look ahead, like what JCB are doing, people like that, they're making a hydrogen engine, because you can't run JCB diggers on electric. They'll only last about 10 minutes because they need a lot of power. The big excavators and that, and even the JCB 3C and all that, they couldn't operate on batteries, because they spend half the day charging them up, and they do it with a diesel Jenny, because they don't have mains electric much on site, so it would kind of defeat the object. So they're developing hydrogen, because on the back of it, the problem with hydrogen engines in cars is there's no space for it, because you need a lot of tank space. But on an excavator, you've got all that back end behind the driver, so it could be viable there on these big excavators, hydrogen. So I don't know where they're making it, but it's coming from Greece into Bulgaria, and then they say with the view of, expanding it into all the Balkans. So that's the best route, because if Greece, they can't really. It's hard to go through Macedonia, and Albania is, it's all mountainous, and it's quite difficult terrain. Between the Greece's border, right the way across to where it meets Bulgaria, it's all mountain, proper mountains, not like not like little ones. So they come through Bulgaria, and then you go straight through them. They've got a central valley here that goes straight through to Serbia. And there are some elevation, because Sofia is quite high. I think it's 500 meters above sea level. But the way it goes up to Sofia is very gentle. And there's very few mountains. There are a few. There is a bit of a rise up towards Lozenets. There's a bit of a mountain kind of stretch there, but it's not like anything severe that you couldn't get a pipeline through. And I think the main gas one actually comes through the Danube plain. The gas that goes to Serbia, I think that goes through not far from here actually, because we're on the north side. We're on the slope that faces the Danube, if you like, and it keeps the wind. That's why we don't get any wind, because if the wind comes from the south and the west, but it does, it hits the mountain, and we do occasionally get wind and the odd squall, the odd storm, but not very often. Anyway, so that's just another two things. Feathers in Bulgaria's cap. They get feathers in the caps every week, reading stuff about, like, they're emerging as this and they're doing this and they're doing that. And there's something there about AI. They're going big into AI and, and all the other stuff that's going on, making all this ammo. And they're also stepping up now on small weapons, small arms. Because they've got the infrastructure still there. Kalashnikov and all that. So, like, Bulgaria, it's like the eighth wonder. Well, I make it out as if it is. But, like, how much good news can you handle? It's to me, it's like, and then I watch these Brit rants. The opposite, complete opposite. The UK's imploding. Anyway, so that's a little story from rainy Bulgaria.